If you ever want to know if everything's perfect in my kitchen, this should answer everything. Hey everyone, what's up and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, I'm so happy you clicked on today's video. If you are returning, you know I love hanging out with you in my kitchen every single week. Today I'm sharing with you some easy meal ideas for $1.50 or less. I like to share meals that work for me and my husband in hopes to inspire you in your own kitchen. Before we get started, give this video a huge thumbs up and subscribe. You're gonna see a lot of awesome meal ideas from me in the next couple weeks because it is Vlogmas and I'm sharing a lot of videos during this time. You can also check out my blog, link down below, flourishingmiranda.com, if you want some more meal inspiration. I try to update that every single week. So if you need a spot for recipes, make sure to check that out too. Okay, ingredients for the first recipe, which I just realized both of these recipes actually only have 5 ingredients, which I love. Handful of ingredients. Minus like if you're going to use seasonings, and I'll put the prices for everything up on the screen along with the cost per serving at the end so you can see it in case you want to do some price comparisons. I know a lot of people like to have the numbers, but if you are gluten-free, then this will work awesomely for you. If you're not gluten-free, you're gonna save even more money because this pasta cost me about $2.69, but I had a coupon and I got Fetch Rewards, so it was less than $2 a box. I've honestly never used this oven ready gluten-free pasta by Barilla before, so fingers crossed it's a good one. And then lentils, I just buy by the pound. I don't buy them in bulk anymore. And it's about 67 cents per cup dry, which makes 2 cups when it's cooked. I have an onion, and then I also have Italian style diced tomatoes and tomato sauce. This is like extra. You don't have to buy them like this. You can just add extra seasonings. However, this is the same price for me at my store than like regular unseasoned ones. So, I mean, if you didn't want to add any additional seasonings, this is a good way to just grab that. But I don't know how everybody's stores have things priced. I don't know if it's more or less at your store or the same. Like I said, this is just what I'm using, and hopefully I'll inspire you to make something similar. If you are not gluten-free, you're gonna save even more money. I've actually noticed the price of pasta, it really varies depending on what store I go to. So let me know down below, what is about a normal pound of pasta where you're at? It really fluctuates here between $1.25 and $1.75, which it always used to be like 99 cents a pound. So I find that really interesting. But anyways, we have to get these lentils cooking to make some lasagna. Okay, so for my lentils, I just make them on the stovetop. You can make them in the pressure cooker if you want to, but it's 1 cup dry lentils to 4 cups water. Bring that to a boil. And then once it starts boiling, bring it down to a medium-low heat. You almost cook this like you do rice, except you cook with a lid on for 25 minutes. It's really easy. You can season it with whatever you want. I usually do them plain, and then I season them after they're cooked. A couple extra steps here with my onions because I want them cooked differently. When I put them in the lentils, sometimes in the water, they kind of get, I don't know, kind of weird to me, but you can definitely put them in the lentils. I'm gonna cook them on the side. It'll take like 5 minutes and then add them to the lentils when the lentils are done cooking. I'm gonna add a little bit of vegetable stock just to that. I make it myself, so that's kind of a nice way to save money. The recipe is always in the description box, or you can check it out on my blog. And then I'm gonna add some salt, garlic powder, and a little bit of tomato paste. This is just really gonna add a lot of depth of flavor. If you don't like tomatoes or can't have tomatoes, you can definitely leave this out and do something different. You can do a white cream sauce. If you want a cheese sauce, you can also check out, I keep saying it, but check out my blog. There's a couple cheese sauces you'll find down there if you don't want to do tomatoes. This smells so good. And I don't know if I already said this, but I'm cooking these on the side with the sauce, and then I'll mix the lentils in. I just feel like it gives a lot more flavor, and everything cooks best to my liking, but you can definitely add the lentils in here and cook them if you want to. Completely up to you. I think the tomatoes cook better on their own. So it's like making a sauce and the lentils and then putting it together and creating your lasagna. So I'm adding my tomatoes, my tomato sauce and diced tomatoes into this, and I'm just gonna let this simmer. This is so good. Just have this with pasta. It's so, so good. I'm just gonna let this simmer with a lid on it until my lentils are all finished. And this is gonna be a very saucy lasagna. You can add different things to this if you like vegan cheeses, or I mean, basically anything that you might like, but this is very simple and it's gonna be very hearty. You can see my lentils are boiling. I let them boil for about 5 minutes before I reduce the heat to about medium low in between. I put the lid on and then I just let them cook off for 25 minutes, and then I'll add the lentils to my sauce and then build my lasagna. I taste tested my sauce. It's real good. Getting a 9x13 glass baking dish, and I will put a little bit of cooking spray on this. Personal preference. I don't like it to get yucky and then it takes a long time to scrub off. So I always put that in there so nothing sticks. But I'm gonna make a little assembly line. My lentils have about 10 minutes left. So I'm gonna make a little assembly line. I got a little cup measure. I'm gonna put the lentils in here. Got the pasta, le pasta, and put this together. And I believe these cook fairly fast. Not really, 40 minutes. Okay, well, I'll make up for it with the next meal because this one's a little bit slower, you know, but the next meal is gonna be fast, I promise. You're gonna bake this at 425 for 40 minutes covered, and this is additional 20 minutes uncovered. I'm gonna check it and see where it's at because I don't have any cheese. I might keep it covered the entire 60 minutes. Hey Google, can you set a timer for 60 minutes and label it lasagna? Okay, just pulled the lasagna out of the oven. I did already peek at it. It's a little dry on top, which I'll be honest, I figured it would be because I didn't save enough sauce for the top. My portion ratio was wrong. Hopefully yours looks better than mine. But the noodles are still squishy and soft, so I'm not really worried about it. And honestly, I could just pick those off, but it's looking really good. And this is 4 portions, so just divide this into 4. I'm not gonna cut into it right now. I'm actually going to save it, let it cool down, and probably just like reheat it later. I think these noodles will be fine. They feel really good, and they're really soft underneath there. That looks good. It smells amazing. And this is a big portion. You know, like this is a 9x13, so dividing that in 4 I feel like is a really good portion. But like I said, I'm just gonna leave this sit and I'll share with you the prices of this meal here right now. Okay, recipe number 2. I have another onion, more gluten-free pasta. Again, if you are not gluten-free, you'll save a little bit of money. This is a white rice, brown rice, corn and quinoa blend. I like it, it's pretty good. And it was on sale for about $2, and I feel like that's a great price. It's a 12-ounce pack. Tomatoes, again, the diced with the Italian style like seasoning. You don't have to get these if you don't want to, if they're more expensive. Completely up to you. Do what's best for you. Corn and pinto beans. Yes, beans are way cheaper if you were to get them in bulk, but I like to keep the canned ones on for convenience because this meal is going to take me 10 minutes to make. And sometimes I do keep beans in my freezer, but I find I use them really fast. Just means I need to bulk prep more of them. But I do like having these on hand too. I think they're really easy, really simple, and they're not that bad price-wise. So I always keep them in stock. But I also have dry ones in my pantry, and I also have some made up in my freezer. So there you have it. We're gonna have a 10-minute meal, 5 ingredients. Onions though. Okay, so I don't always pre-chop my onions. I shared with you a really easy hack where you can put them in your food processor, put them in a freezer bag, and then section them off. Like if you use 6 onions, you would use 6 sections. I'll link the video above so you can check it out. I know a lot of you already do this hack, but I saw it, a friend of mine shared it, and I was like, that's genius. So I don't always chop onions, but I don't have any onions on hand right now in my freezer. And I'm gonna spend some time this afternoon getting a bunch prepped since I just ordered onions. And I actually get my onions from Amazon Freshly because they're the best price per pound that I can personally find, and I feel like they're the freshest onions. A lot of times when I go to the store, I'll get through the package of onions, and there's nothing more annoying to me than one that's like not gonna make it. You know what I mean? Like half of it goes to waste because once you cut off the onion peel, you see that it's like it's not gonna make it. So anyways, I don't always cut onions, but I guess I do it every so often to punish myself because it makes me cry. Anyways, I just thought I would let you know because I do often get comments saying like, don't always chop onions. I know, it bothers my eyes, but I still like cutting and chopping. It's very therapeutic for me. Like, I don't know, it makes me feel like a real chef. If you ever want to know if everything's perfect in my kitchen, this should answer everything. When people say, my floors are so clean you could eat off of them, I'd rather not. So we're gonna switch for another box that has not hit the floor. I'm gonna use the same pot again because I am making another dish with the same style ingredients. So I'm not gonna bother washing it. Extra flavor. Also kind of doing the same thing here, adding a little veggie broth, some seasonings, tomato paste, and let it cook. So I decided to go ahead and make this a 1-pot meal. So I grabbed extra veggie broth based on what I have in my kitchen. I make my own veggie broth. I like to make my own veggie broth. And this is why, so I can switch things up a little bit if I want to. If you don't have any veggie broth on hand, you could just boil your pasta separate. That works too. I went ahead and added my tomatoes. I rinsed my corn and my beans because I don't want any additional liquids in here. I want it to be as I want it. If you want to not rinse your beans and corn, that's fine. I think sometimes it just depends on the recipe for me. Sometimes I don't mind the bean, like broth being in there, and then sometimes I feel like I don't really like it. This would also be really good with black beans. I was just really feeling pinto beans, so that's what I put in here. I'm gonna go ahead and add my veggie broth and then bring all of this to a boil and then add my pasta and cook that for about 7 minutes. Sometimes it cooks a little faster, and this was 4 cups of veggie broth, by the way. Okay, so this is finished, and I'm just gonna let it sit here and kind of absorb some of that water because that's how I like my pasta. But I'm gonna equal this into 4 portions, and then I'll chat with you about the cost of those portions here in a little bit. But this is a big pot. I don't know how big of a pot it is, like quart-wise, but that is a lot of food for 1 portion for less than $1.50. Okay, I decided to go ahead and portion this out. I'm gonna have one of these for lunch today, but I'm putting the other portions in the fridge just to eat later. I don't mind gluten-free pasta if it sits in the fridge. This brand specifically is not that bad, if you know what I mean. Like sometimes it gets mealy, but this is a pretty good portion. This is probably like 2 cups of food, like if you were going to weigh it by volume, if not a little bit more. And I feel really happy with this for the price. So here are they all portioned out. Like I said, if you don't like gluten-free pasta made ahead, you could eat this all at once. I don't really mind it. This specific brand doesn't get too mealy if you eat it within a few days. And I'm guessing my husband will have 1 or 2 of these for lunch when he gets home. So it just kind of leaves me 1. It's not that bad when it's warmed up. So definitely something you can make with black beans too, or a different kind of bean. I just wanted to switch it up. Very hearty meal, super inexpensive. Thank you so much for joining me in today's video. I hope you really enjoyed the recipes I shared. Of course, you can swap out ingredients for things you might like better or things that you might have on hand. One of the things I really like to do here on my channel and in my kitchen is to use a lot of the same ingredients over and over in different ways, but switching out different beans, switching out different lentils, maybe a different sauce can kind of keep things fresh, if you will, without getting boring. And it also keeps things super budget friendly. I've enjoyed spending time with you today. Like I said, give this video a huge thumbs up, make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you in a new one very soon. Bye-bye.